welcome to Amaranth. These are general messages for the collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter placements. Let's get into it. So the first card you have, Gemini, is the Strength card, and this is number 8. Is coming to very strong. It's a major arcana. Now, let's take a look at the picture. In the picture about there is like this woman in a blue dress. She's holding the mouth of this lion, right? She's opening it really big and wide, and she's very comfortable with it. She's doing it with ease. She's doing it without any fear. And then there's lots of butterflies out here. Butterflies is the air energy, which is you, Gemini. So I do feel that Gemini, in the next few days, there is a situation or something that you will need to be patient with. And I feel that this might be a situation or, something that gets triggered in you, which you will need to kind of have a, have a ability to keep it managed well. Like, for example, you might, want to do something like really fast, or you want something to go fast or happen fast. But now you have to hold back that impulse or that urgency, and you have to be patient with the process. For some of you, this could be at work. For the most part, I feel this is a situation which is outside of your house. It could be in your neighborhood. It could be in your work or, with anything else. But this is something that you will need to be patient with. Because if you see, the girl is, very gently handling this lion in the picture above and the picture below. So the picture below is like your inner world, your emotions. So, and in both the places, she's been very gentle with herself. So there is something that is, maybe that needs to be expressed, but you will have to find the right way to express it. So, you don't need to hold back on expressing it. It's not about holding the line here. She's not caging the line. She's not put the line in a cage. Also, it's not, she's not forceful. She's not going wild or crazy about the lion's presence. She's putting her hands in his mouth. So I feel that you will need to find a way to express yourself in a gentle way, even though you might want to say something, but you'll have to probably hold back, have the strength to hold back or to say things in a more gentler, in a more finding a middle ground kind of a way. And I feel that you will need to be very accurate with what you say. You can't beat around the bush. You can't leave room for error. You will need to express it in the most precise way possible. So I do feel in the next few days, your words, your articulation will be your strength. That's the strength that is called for from you. And I also feel there might be a situation that you will need to be wise about, you will need to be gentle with, and you will need to be patient with. Also, at the same time, I feel that whatever the situation is, like, for example, it's a project that you're working on. It's one of the, easiest examples I can give you, Gemini, is like if there's a project that you're working on, let your work show your strength rather than speak it out and tell people about it and things like that. Let your work show your strength and your abilities. Also, I feel that in the next few days, you should kind of focus on put your attention on the one pressing thing that's really calling at you rather than multiple places, um, yeah, don't scatter your energies because you might need to pull in strength to address one big thing. So stay focused instead of distracted. Up, 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 up. Now, this might also be some situation that, kind of gets you overwhelmed or a little bit, what a crazy situation this is. It might throw you a little bit off guard, but I feel that you will need to still present yourself in a gentle way. Um, Now, for some of you, this could be, that it's a team that you have to manage and there is so much going on, but you cannot be harsh with your words, maybe your time price, but you still cannot be harsh with your words. Maybe people need a more assistance than you can provide. Maybe you're pressed for time, but you will still need to be gentle with your approach. For some of you, this could be negotiations or, especially if you have your own business or or if you are in leadership positions, you might be negotiating with companies that need a lot of patience. Or maybe this could be approvals that you're waiting on that needs a lot of patience. But yeah, something that you will need to be gentler with. You need a gentle approach. You cannot, and also don't scatter your energies. So I do feel that even in conflicting situations, you will have to stay composed, calm, and gently present. So you will need your wits about yourself, and you will need to be more grounded in your approach. And I feel that once you're able to handle the situation, you will be amazed at what you are capable of. Because this woman out here, I don't think she knew that, she will be able to pull opening a lion's mouth that easily with a smile. So I feel that once you overcome the situation or handle the situation in a gentler way, you will probably feel like, okay, if I can handle this situation in this way, then I got this. I can handle more such situations in a gentler way. So this will build on some kind of a quality for you. The situation will help you build a quality for you. Now, I also feel that there is some kind of a shift or a change or a transformation that will happen, either in the situation, and like I said, of course, this is a transformation within you because strength card will change us in ways that we had not imagined. It requires us to pull on some inner reserves and to stay calm, even in the most chaotic situations, and maybe this is something that you have not done before. Maybe this is an aspect of yourself that you will need to, draw on, pull on. And once you've done it, you know that you have a quality that you can tap into. Now, I also feel this could be a situation that is transforming, and it's been in transformation for way too long, or it's been transforming and it's a little bit longer that you have been in this situation. It could be a familiar situation for you. And that has been going on either for the past few days or a couple of weeks, and you've seen it change, and it's been possible only because you have had the patience and strength to, go at this distance or take it this far or be in the situation for a little longer or a little too far. So I do feel that now this could be, in terms of creating a plan, like, a project plan or some kind of, or maybe if you're traveling, you'll need to have like a plan, like I've got to do this and that, and you have to be patient with the whole process of figuring things out. So maybe it's a lot that you have to figure out, and you have to be patient with it, with the process, patient of figuring out from where you will go and how you will travel and all of that. For some of you, it could be travel related, but for others of you, this could be, something at work or your side gigs or your own business where you have to be very, smart. You have to have, that gentle smartness, because she's wearing a blue dress out here, which is like, it has an emotional feel to it, a very gentle, caring approach to it. So you cannot be reckless with the situation. I also feel that, Gemini, if this is a difficult situation that you've been dealing with, if you are able to manage it with a gentle approach, this situation will resolve way better, more easier than you had expected. Now, if this is not in regards to work, it could be general, like, the people that you speak with. Could be your neighborhood, your friends. Maybe a conversation needs you to be more patient. Maybe you need to be more gentler in your regular conversations, maybe with your kids, maybe with your colleagues, your peers. Because strength of God is a great quality to have, and especially like in your office space, I feel that if you are this person who handles everything with a cool temperament, I feel that this is a quality that is highly appreciated by your peers or the people that know or can see this capability of yours. The next card you have, Gemini, is the cat. So, lion family, right? Lion is the cat family. So you have a lot of, I would say, directness with this cat energy out here. Look at the cat. That cat is kind of associated with the Queen of Wands. She had a black cat. A little bit of mystery, a little bit of alertness. If you see, the cat is very much alert. Not little bit of alertness. This cat is fully alert. And at the same time, it's like this hunch over here. And this cat is like staring right directly to the person looking at it. So this is a direct look. Maybe that's what you have. You're very present. You're looking, eye to eye, seeing eye to eye with people. You're very engaged in conversations or in the moment, wherever you are. And at the same time, there is a little bit of a mystery. Like, people cannot predict what you're going to do. But at the same time, this cat feels like, it could go either ways. It could turn around. It could go forward, backward. It could move immediately, or it could be standing there. So it's a little bit of an unpredictable energy with this. So I do feel, and also cats are also like, they are a little bit like, they have their own mind. They're very independent. And they're very smart that ways, because they do things that they like to do. You can't force things on cats that ways. So yeah, I feel that at the end for you, Gemini, this is about, doing things when you want to do it. Like, it's just, nobody can tell you like, oh, Gemini, you got to do it right now. No, you're like, wait, when I'm comfortable, I will do it. I will do it, but I will do it when I'm comfortable. So it could be that kind of an energy with you as well. Also, there is a smartness to this, a specific kind of an intelligence. And of course, you are ruled by Mercury. So there is that Mercury intelligence, which is going to kick in big time for you, Geminis. But at the same time, I feel there is also like, something that you're feeling, like an intuition, So you have that intuition to when to do things, when not to do, when to say, when not to say. Now, I also feel with this cat energy, Gemini, for you, that if there is a situation that went a little haywire or a little off track or something got you off guard, I feel that you're still able to handle it well, that, ultimately, the result is good, like the result is positive. It still arrives on time. Like something like, for example, if you're going to a meeting, and then there is a construction going on. So there are, and then you follow the GPS, and the GPS shows like there are two ways. One is a paid road, one is a free road. And you're like, you know what? I need to get there on time. So let me take the paid road over there. No one will know about it, that you had to pay your way to work or to a certain meeting, and nobody needs to know about it. But then the end point, you reached on time, and, everything went well is the kind of situation that I'm picking up. So something that went haywire in between, but you handled it because of your smartness. With the lion, this thing, you were patient. With the strength card, you were patient. You were strategic. You were intuitive. You felt what would be the right way. And you finally arrived with the right product or with the right strategy and with the right methodology or something like that. Like it came through fine in the end. The only caveat that comes with the energy of the card is, aloof. Because cats are not very social, So just be wary of that because, while you're independent, you're thinking you have everything that it takes. You don't really need anybody and all of that. You're really independent. You make your own decisions and all of that. But then, the aloofness downside of the cat is that, they kind of cut themselves away from people. And then they feel that, because they're self-sufficient, you're self-sufficient, you don't need anybody, but so just be wary of that. And also, like I mentioned, because the cat does when it wants to do. Nobody can tell it, to do anything. So external pressure cannot. So just be mindful that sometimes, while it's good that you're independent and you know when to act, but sometimes there is a pressing situation that really needs your attention and for you to do something, say something, act on it. So don't push it off. Don't push that thing off that needs your immediate attention and action to a timing when you think is going to be suitable for you to act. So just be mindful of that misalign the timing of when you think you should act versus when you really should be acting. And another thing that comes to mind with the cat energy is about, they don't care about the consequences as much because, they just act. So a little bit of recklessness comes through with the cat energy. Be mindful of what, your actions as well because you feel that, even if I act incorrectly, it can be fixed. But you might be in a situation where the consequences are irreversible. So be mindful of that. Act mindfully. And I feel that's what the strength card is about to be patient, to think things through, to act in a more gentler way versus being reckless. And the cat energy here, the downside of it is recklessness. So just be mindful of that. Now, some of you could be working in professions that require some kind of unpredictability or poker face or some kind of, nobody can read your actions is what I'm trying to say. So some of you could be in those kind of, professions where you're very stoic. Nobody can understand what you're thinking, what you're going to do, which, of course, is going to be an advantage for you, but you could be in professions that need that kind of advantage. Somebody who cannot be understood, somebody who cannot be predicted, somebody who cannot be tracked, somebody who cannot be managed, that kind. So you could be in those situations or you could be in those professions. Now, for some of you, this could be, it could be that you have been watching something and now you're ready to act on it. It could be some kind of investment that you're making in the next 2 days where you've been watching maybe a certain kind of portfolio or company or stock that you wanted to invest in or some kind of investment property or something like that you wanted to invest in. And you've been watching the market, you've been analyzing for quite some time. And now you're ready to act. So for some of you, it could be that as well. And the last card for today, you have Gemini, is a message from Cosmos. And it says, bigger and better experiences are coming your way. You may not be able to see it, but great things are coming together for you as you read this. Trust the process and let it unfold in divine timing. Move forward knowing that all is working out just fine. Yeah, exactly. A situation which you don't know what is going to happen, and here's a confirmation that it's all coming together. It's going to be way much better. It's going to turn out way much better. Like I said, that something went haywire and you feel like how are you going to pull it off, or how is it going to come together in the end? But here the universe confirms that it's going to be way much better than you had expected it. It's going to be way much better than what you can see it at this point in time. So trust the process, trust the timing of the universe. Things are working out just fine. So Gemini, those were your messages, and hope you enjoyed them. Now moving on to the sign of Libra. So the first card you have, Libra, for today is the Two of Swords. And it's in the reverse for you. Swords is air suit, and you are the air sign. Seventh house, collective energy for Libras. So, if you see the picture above, there is this person which is sitting in, fully armored with swords, stuck in the ground. And then this person is sitting down. They're not fighting, not anything, just sitting down. I feel that it's more about like a kind of a weeding game, It feels like a weeding game. This person's exhausted of weeding. And even though this person has this armor, the tools and everything, they were still stuck, I feel. But with this sword, this person and they sticking into the ground, which means that a decision has been made. And I feel that there were probably like two paths that you had to, decide upon, decisions that you had to make. And you were probably seeing, both sides. You were trying to get like, okay, this or that. You were trying to get the, clarity of the situation to see which direction would be better for you. Because here the swords is in the ground. It's not in this person's hands. So the decision, whatever path you had to choose, the decision that you had to make has finally been made. And now this person is sitting down, I feel that you've been waiting for way too long. And now after making the decision, Libra, you're feeling more relaxed, at ease. Maybe this was a difficult process for you. Maybe you were indecisive for way too long. So I feel that, it was a decision that really weighed on you, because this armor is like a protective thing, right? You wanted to protect yourself. It was weighing down on you. And I also feel that it was something like a high pressure environment, or high pressure decision that you had to make. Like you didn't have like, forever to choose. Of course, we don't have forever to choose in any decision, but I feel that it took you quite some time to come to this decision. And somehow you felt like, you had to make it. It was some kind of an urgency that came upon you that you had to make this decision. Maybe it was like, for example, it was like two jobs that you had to choose from, and you cannot stay stuck indefinitely because they have a timeline. They're like, give us an answer in a week. And I feel that the time was up in some way and you had to make a call. And somehow I feel that emotionally, you were not sure, I feel. Like, from your emotions, somehow I feel that you had locked up your emotions to make this decision. Maybe you were trying to be more logical or more rational with your choice. But I feel that after you make this choice, or if you've made the choice already, it's going to be different for each one of you. You're feeling more at ease. You're like, finally, I'm happy, I feel, because the lower part of the picture is more calmer. So I feel that after making the decision, you're feeling at ease, you're feeling more calm and happy with your choice. So maybe it was like, something that you put your emotions away. You're like, I'm not going to come from an emotional space. You wanted to be more logical about it. But underneath it, you knew what you wanted. And I feel that Um, and I feel that you saw something because that you could no longer ignore, you could no longer neglect, you could no longer bottle up. Could be an emotion, could be an aspect, something that, you know, you knew it in the back of your mind or in deep down you knew it, but you were like, you know what, I'm going to put it to the side. I'm going to be very rational. But now you saw something that you couldn't avoid or you couldn't ignore. So now I feel that things are going to start moving forward. You know, in the direction that you choose, they're going to move forward. And I feel that this stalemate was kind of holding you back from doing anything. So maybe everything came to a stop, or, you know, everything got frozen in time, and you're not, you know, it's a very difficult thing, like, you know, when you have to decide. Of course, that thing will move forward because you have to make a decision, you know. Now that you've decided, everything will start moving really fast. So definitely, I feel that the decision that you made, you know, it's something emotionally that really kicked for you. You're like, you know, this emotion is too strong for me to ignore or to contain or to be more rational. And the decision now that I have to make or that you made is coming from your heart space. And the good thing is, Libra, that you're ruled by Venus. Venus is all about being balanced, being grounded, you know, choosing the path that most appeases to you. Yeah, and right now, Venus is in Taurus, which is a very earthy, grounded energy. So I feel that the decision that you are making is going to be very grounded. It's going to make you feel very grounded. It's like, you know, something that your body feels and knows from the core, that grounds you, that calms you, that brings you the peace, is something that you will feel or you felt before making the decision, or the decision that you made or are making is making you feel grounded or coming from a grounded place. Because I feel that you have a lot of data, you have a lot of information. You don't need any more information. You just needed to hear your soul and your heart, and your body knows, you know. Each of us, we have that intuition. Our body tells us what's right, what's wrong. And I feel that your body told you, your heart told you. And, you know, I mean, which way to go, because you already had all the information. You don't need any more information. Now, if this is not your energy, Libra, this could also be the energy of environment around you or the people around you. And we are seeing that in the world around us, where there's a lot of stalemates happening in the real world. You know, geopolitically also, there's a lot of stalemates. There's kind of deadlocks that are happening, a lot of negotiations, and a lot of extended stalemates that have been going on, you know, in between countries and economies and all of that. So some of you could be in those jobs where there's a lot of negotiations or extended deadlocks that have been happening in regards to economies or companies or, you know, political, international. It could be anything. So some of you could be in those professions as well. But the thing about this decision has taught you probably one thing, Libra. I feel that you can trust your body and your instincts way more than you had expected. You know, because Libra being an air sign, you're all too up in your head, rational, trying to balance things, you know. Your life is the balance, you know, so you try to weigh in on things and weigh out the pros and cons and all of that. So I feel that this time around when you made this decision, yes, there was the information gathering, and yes, there was a rational analysis going on, but I felt that your body knew the decision more than your mind, or your heart knew the decision more than your mind. And I feel that it's very difficult for Libras to, you know, kind of connect with that, bodily intuition or knowing. But I feel that you did it this time, and you feel more relieved that you were able to connect with your body, with your intuition, with your heart space. more than you had thought that you could ever. And with this, I feel there could be people that were actually waiting on your decision, and now they feel relieved as well, or they are able to now, move things forward, because I feel that they were also, they might also have been on hold, on pause, because of your decision. The next card you have, Libra, is Audrey Lord, and it further says justice. Oh my God, Libra, you're getting like pure Libra cards today, like, totally claim and own this energy. Audrey Lord was a poet, she was a activist as well, like when she used to write, she was a journalist and all of that. I mean, poetess for the most part. But the thing about her was she wrote a lot on, powerful topics about the community, about the society. And if you see in her hand, she's holding the sword in one hand, and then she's holding this golden owl. She also has a head wrap. So I feel that, Libra, this is about speaking and writing from the heart. It's about the emotional depth. It's like you're making decisions. We saw with the Two of Swords in the reverse for you, which means the decision that you have made is not like being a spectator kind of a decision, right? It's a situation that you have been deeply involved in. And I feel that the sword is all about, being very precise. You know exactly what you're seeing, what you're saying, what you want. And then there is this golden owl. Owl is all about wisdom, right? And it's golden here. The element itself speaks about how golden and powerful the subject is that you're dealing with, the topic that you're dealing with. I feel that here the sword being in the upright, it means that you're very intentional about what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're choosing. Very intentional. So I feel that in the next few days, whatever needs, of course it's it's justice, which means, something needs to be made fair or square. And I feel that you will be able to exactly point it out, like what is missing, what is wrong, and you will be able to make that decision, even though you might be surrounded by a lot of people that are seeing the situation, but not everybody would see it as unfair. But I feel that you will still go ahead and make the decision because you see it as unfair. So you will address it no matter what other people are seeing or saying. And I also feel that it's coming from a deep-rooted emotional space. It's like you've been experiencing it, or you probably have been experiencing this for quite some time, or maybe you're seeing somebody experience this for quite some time. But this decision, this justice is coming from a very heartfelt space. And I feel that you're very committed to this. Because if you see the owl is all about wisdom, seeing in the dark. So your wisdom is not a luxury at this point in time, Libra. It's a necessity at this point in time. It's the truth. Here it says, daughter of the lords of truth. So ruler of the balance. So basically it's about speaking what is unjust, speaking your truth, being honest, and seeing the beauty in speaking honestly. For some of you, this could be as part of a community, something that's going on, or it could be a part of the team, which is going on either in your office space, or also it could be as part of community or your family. But I'm getting a very group energy, like something about a group speaking truth, seeing the situation. This is not like a single one-off, like one-to-one kind of a justice. It's like a part of a group or community in some way. So that's good because this is very much needed at this point in time. I feel like you feel it in your bare bones. You feel it that you need to speak up, except that you need to be very balanced, very precise with your, with what you say, the words you use. Now, if this is not your situation, Libra, which it possibly could not be, may not be, you probably are dealing with institutions, that serve justice or are involved in justice in some way. You could be part of court system or part of a society that delivers some kind of justice. Could be at corporate level, but this is some kind of a, speaking the thing which sits, which is true, which other people may not agree to it, but it's, you're speaking exactly what you're seeing. And I feel that, if this is not like something big, maybe it's not a situation, maybe it's the tiny things, in your day-to-day. You're probably seeing, in your daily life, like what's fair, what's not fair, and you're seeing it clearly. And I feel that you're not caring about, like everybody has to feel that it's wrong. Everybody has to see it as unjust and all of that. You're like, I see it as unjust and I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to speak up about it or something like that. So, yeah, you're being like open, outspoken, very direct with your words. And I feel that, once we make those decisions, once we call out the wrongdoings, things that have been at a stalemate, like with the Two of Swords kind of, they start to move forward in the right direction, in the right way. And the last card for today, Libra, you have is a message from Cosmos. And it says, don't worry, everything you've been waiting for is on its way. Progress is being made, even if you can't see the results as yet. So much has happened behind the scenes for the creation of your dreams. Trust the process. Yeah, so the universe has already been lining things up for you. Probably, it's just that a matter of a choice that you made. And now you will see forward movement. And that's exactly what I've been saying. Once the stalemate is off, it's gone, you picked a direction, made a decision that's coming from your heart space, you will make fast exponential progress. You will see that. You probably cannot see the results as yet because it was just, the decision was just made or you're in the process of it. But a lot was working out behind the scenes, for you to make the choice so that things can start showing up for you. So Libra, those were your messages and hope you enjoyed them. Now moving on to the sign of Aquarius. So the first card you have, Aquarius, is the Six of Pentacles. But it's in the reverse for you. Now, you are the air sign, and Pentacles is an earthy energy. It's the earth energy. And if you see in the picture, there are 3 pentacles in the picture above, and then there are 3 pentacles in the picture below. The picture below is more vibrant, alive, blossoming, flowering. There's vines. The vines are indicative of growth. Above there is a salamander, or I would say a lizard or salamander, whatever that is. That's moving between pentacles. Now, that's a very important thing. Like, salamanders are a generator species. They can grow back their own tails. And your reverse for you is like more blossoming. It's the Three of Pentacles. It's like working together. It's a network of people that we work with. So I feel that, Six of Pentacles here is distributed between the figure on top and the figure below, so 3 and 3. I feel that the pentacles in this are kind of distributed. So I do feel that, sorry about that noise. So, and speaking of the lizard, this lizard is like, the lizard has 1 foot on one pentacle, and then 2 feet on another pentacle, and a tail on the first pentacle. So I feel it's about regeneration of wealth. Investing into places that grows, that renews itself, that regenerates itself, that where money actually regenerates or renews in some way. So I feel that this is more about distributing your time, energy, resources, your money, your energy, in different places, rather than putting all your eggs in one basket, as they say, or just investing your time and energy into just one place, or maybe if it's an investment portfolio, just one kind of stock. I feel it's asking you to distribute it or diversify it. I also feel that this could be about distribution. I don't know, are you distributing something? Or are you working for companies that is distributing something? This could be like maybe you're working for some NGOs where you are distributing away resources. You're collecting and distributing resources. Or it could be that you're working in some network that redistributes resources. Now, some of you, this can also be about, Aquarius, your sign is a water bearer. And water bearer is about, sharing it with the world. You see, the angel that's there in the picture, in the traditional right away, she is distributing that, pouring that water back onto the lake, where she drew it from. So it's like giving it back. It's redistributing it. So I don't know if you're working in some kind of a redistribution-oriented kind of a company, or this could be about you yourself, like investing into, different places, like you're also invested into your job and also into your family, into your kids, into maybe studying something, into maybe planning something, like distribution of your time and energy and attention. To some of you, it could be distribution of your time, because that's a resource as well. Now, I'm also picking up that some of you could be working in areas that is, there is a new concept called as UBI, which is Universal Basic Income, which is being experimented in some parts of the world, where they want to reduce the pay gap or the salary gap or the poverty gap between, the people. So some of you could be in those experiments or trying out those kind of things to reduce the gap in some way, shape, or form. But I feel that once you distribute the resources or your time or your money, it's going to benefit you a lot. It's going to be a very fertile thing or very, abundant thing to do. So rather than investing everything into one area, break it down and invest it into different areas, whether it's your time, energy, your resources, money, whatever that is. Same with your relations, like rather than investing all of your time into just one relation, make time for everything, for your neighbors, for your cousins, for your friends, for your kids, for your husbands, for your parents, for your grandparents, whichever people you're dealing with. You might be too much invested into a particular relationship, and this is asking you to build a network rather than have a concentrated resource, or just putting all your time into one person or one area or one team. So this could also be one area. Maybe you're just too focused on work and you need to invest your time into yourself, into your family, and things like that. So some of you could be, advised to do that as well. Now, I'm also picking up, below this it says the Lord of Material Success, which means that once it's like they say, if you don't hoard on to the money. It's that kind of vibe, like not hoarding, giving it away. Um, Generosity, could be generosity, could be philanthropy, could be donation. Some of you could be making some kind of donations as well. Um, yeah, and I feel you're just, doing it out of love or just out of gratitude. It's not about like you have aims. For example, if you have a philanthropy company, it's like maybe you don't want to put your name on it or you want to do it anonymously, because you're just feeling like you're feeling generous. You want to distribute. You want to be generous. You want to give to the world. You want to help communities. You want to uplift them and things like that. But you do it anonymously or quietly or low, in a low profile way. For some of you, that's what you could be doing. But at the same time, you need to take care of yourself, because reverse Six of Pentacles original is that you're giving too much than you're receiving. So don't deplete yourself. And also, it's very important to have like a balance. So if you're giving, make sure that you also receive in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be exactly 50-50, but you know what I mean. Now, I also feel that this could be, like for example, if you're heading a company, you are kind of, and you're the one who's responsible for a lot of things. I feel that you are kind of hiring more people so that the responsibilities can be distributed. Instead of going it all by yourself, you're like, you know what, I'm the CEO, and I'm going to hire some 5 managers that will handle their teams and report to me. So I don't have to handle 100 people. I will have 5 managers who are handling 20 people each. So you kind of distribute that power, or that responsibility amongst the people who report to you. So eventually you're going to get the information and, all of the updates of all the 100 people, but only through 5 channels, so 5 managers that you're going to hire instead of, you working with those 100 people. So some of you could be hiring more so that, you can have people reporting to you and give those updates rather than you connecting with everyone yourself. Also, for some of you, it could be that as well. But in general, I also feel that you could be working with a lot of people, networks and communities. You could be contributing in some way to development of communities or underdeveloped places, or you could be funding and, providing money or donations or something like that. Or you could be working in financial areas that are, working for the communities or for the people, kind of, in a public way, like public banks instead of private banks. So some of you could be making those shifts as well, or just investing your time in community in some way, shape, or form. I also feel that for some of you, you could be, building networks and somehow connecting people like, oh, a chef, in a restaurant, and somebody who wants to own a restaurant, and those 2 people don't know each other, and the 2 people. So you connect them, like, oh, this person wants to buy a restaurant, and he's a chef, and you both can team up, and you can create a big, a restaurant. So some of you can be also working in networks or building networks or connecting people through networks. Now, others of you could be dealing with some kind of a wealth distribution within your family, the inheritance or something like that. So you could be looking at how the wealth will be distributed, maybe amongst your kids, or you could be the one at the receiving end, or you could be one at the giving end. Some tongues are around the distribution of wealth, your personal wealth or your family wealth or generational wealth can also be in the picture for some of you. Now, others of you, you could also be dealing with some kind of communities, like, it could be that you're working with some kind of trust, that, I had read some time back about the Patagonia's ownership model, how the company restructured is like they transferred their ownership to, a trust that was also dedicated to serving the environment and the environment aid causes. So it's like for some of you, you could be invested into companies that further invest into environment, because you see the pentacles, the 3 pentacles below, it's an earthy investment. Wherever they are planted, the vines are growing, flowers are blooming. So some of you can be allocating some resources to earth, where to earth or earth projects or earth or environmental causes. We just had Earth Day. So some of you could be invested into that as well. But at the same time, I feel that some of you are in general feeling generous, like maybe you want to tip a little bit more than you normally do, or you might be feeling generous in a way that you want to, it's like there's a lot of small businesses that are popping up. So some of you might be supporting those or supporting startups. Maybe you are the angel investor and you are diversifying your funds. Or you could be, investing into the smaller businesses through funds, or you could be buying something from small businesses versus reputed big brands. So for some of you, it could be promoting community spirit through investing into small businesses as well. Now, for some of you, this could be also that that people see that you are giving way too much, and then you get the help and support. So, for example, if you start a fundraiser and they're like, oh, you're giving your time, your energy, you're going about fundraising, so let us contribute. And you receive a lot of contribution from people who have seen you hustle with the fundraising or something like that. Or it could be, or you could be at the end of at the receiving end this next few days and weeks, like, you've done too much, you bend over backwards, you do too much for people, and sometimes, it depletes you because you don't get the same, returned back, or the same energy, similar kind of energy returned back for you. Some of you, it could be that people who have been on the receiving end and you have been on the giving end, that could shift, like you being on the receiving end and the other people being on the giving end. So for some of you, that could be a possibility. So I do sense a kind of a non-attachment in terms of finances or funds. You're like, I believe in giving. Donations, you're being generous. You're hoarding, yes, you're giving more. The next card you have, Aquarius, is the energy of Anna Akhmatova, and it says endurance. Now, Anna Akhmatova was a poetess, and there's a firebird, which is right on top, and firebirds are symbolic of, firebirds, they will burn anything that they come in contact with. But, the fact that she's, like, if the firebird is right above her head, Anna Akhmatova, she went through a lot. I mean, if you read her history, which is very painful. She was a poetess, she wrote a lot, and sometimes her poems, like, were kind of at the, brink of being destroyed, or some of them. She did not, or people tried to destroy her work, her poems, and what she did was that whatever poems that she had written on the, paper in those days, in the 20th century, then she would just memorize those poems, and even if the fire burned the paper, she had them memorized so she could reproduce it back from her head. I feel that something similar for you too, Aquarius. Like, I feel there is something that you're trying to preserve in the next few days or, 1 or 2 weeks. You're trying to preserve something. Either you're trying to preserve some work, some intellectual property, or this could be something that you're trying to memorize that you and your brain knows, which you don't want it to be around. Just like we used to write journals and our personal diaries and things like that. And then we, kind of it kind of threw away the personal diary because you don't want anybody else to read it, but you kind of memorized it or something like that, or the numbers, phone number diaries we had. So something like that. I mean, I feel that you're trying to preserve something. Yeah, so endurance is, going through so much and still, being present, being there. So nothing can bring you down. It's that kind of an energy. Then whatever you are protecting, I feel it is, you have seen it, you have memorized it, you have learned it, or you have, I don't know, something, but you're deleting the other information or, throwing it away or something like that. It's because it says your endurance. And I feel that if this is some kind of a tricky situation or a difficult situation for you, Aquarius, which I feel it could be, it looks like a difficult situation. And I feel that you enduring this fire or this difficult situation is like an, it's like an inspiration to other people. I feel, Aquarius, that, that things are possible. You made something happen which was very difficult, or you went through something and you came out on top, and then, so you have become really, really strong after this, because Firebird, endurance is not easy. It's not easy to deal with the Firebird. Um, so I feel that, out of this difficult situation or out of the situation that you have been through, maybe a series of experiences that were difficult and you had to endure, you've learned a lot. You've learned a lot, so you've become wiser, you've become more knowledgeable, you have more experience. It's just that when we learn so much, nobody can take that experience away from us. It's not like the intellectual property that can be stolen. Nobody can steal your experience. Nobody can steal your knowledge. Nobody can steal what you know. Sorry about that noise. Yeah, so I feel that maybe, you were under pressure of some sort, and, with that pressure, whatever you had to learn, internalize the lessons and all of that has made you solid. It has added to a lot of growth, knowledge, learning, wisdom for you. And I feel that, if this is a difficult situation, Aquarius, and if there are people around you that could help you with this, take their help. Don't go it all alone in this, I feel. I don't know. This looks like a whistleblower energy to me. I don't know if you are trying to expose something. Are you trying to bring to attention or bring to light something which has been going on in your environment, which is underhanded? It does happen. Like, sometimes the companies, they don't want those kind of data or evidence or knowledge or documents. They don't want it. So some of you could be erasing that. Now, for some of you, you could be reporting something. Either you are, either you're seeing something happening in the company itself or around you, in your neighborhood, in your city. I don't know, maybe you're a journalist that's trying to report something, but then you are holding back because of a difficult situation. So this could be like saving, protecting, preserving data, or it could be even, preserving, it could be preservation of anything, resources, ecosystems, birds, data, intellectual property, evidences, or something like that. Maybe there's a threatening situation. Maybe you're under pressure right now for something. But this is like something very important that you are trying to preserve, protect, because it really is important to you or to the community or to the company. And maybe you are under the pressure for erasing it, for deleting it, for things like that. And maybe people are trying to get data out of you, and you're like, no, I'm not going to budge, I'm not going to say it, or something like that, And this is kind of a little bit of a testing situation, I feel. So, it looks like you've been through something major, in the last few days or something, and you have not told people about it. I think you're just, holding it in your heart. Now, if this is not about intellectual property or data or evidence or whistleblowing, if that's not got anything to do with you, this could be that you're trying to preserve something in your house. Maybe it's your wealth, maybe it's your resources, maybe it's house, or maybe it's some kind of struggle maybe you're facing financially or something, and you're trying to preserve your resources or your savings or your portfolios. For some of you, it could be that, or the others of you could be into spaces around your home, your neighborhood, your community. Maybe it's like, older monuments that have historical significance, and, you're trying to preserve that, and there is pressure to take it down, but you want to preserve it or something like that. And the last card you have, Aquarius, for today is a message from Cosmos, and it says, the past is behind you now, so drop the fears and doubts, even though you may feel a little uncomfortable at the moment and slightly anxious over what is coming next. You are being purged. You bring yourself back to the present moment. Your recent prayers have been heard and are correctly being worked on. And are currently being worked on. Exactly. So I do feel that you have been through a difficult situation, Aquarius, and you have survived enough. So whatever the situation was, it's over. It's at the tail end. I think you're still living in those fears. But the universe is confirming, Aquarius, that you are way much stronger than this difficult situation, Whatever tried to bring you down, whatever tried to silence you, you are way stronger than that. Because if you see in the picture, Anna is shown to be like in the moment, in the here and now. She's wearing the firebird as her crown, So, yeah, she's a little disturbed. Yeah, it's a difficult situation. But she's in the moment. She's bold. She's strong to overcome this, And yes, she has her fears, and you can see that from her expression, how, it looks like she is worried about something. She's anxious about something. So it is showing. So some of you, some of you might, some people around you might be noticing some kind of anxiety or some kind of fear that's showing up on your face, and whatever the situation is, share it with other people. Don't do it alone. Don't go at it alone. Don't try to brush off this problem. Don't try to make it, don't try to brush it off as a small problem. Whatever it is, share it with your people in the light that you see it. Don't try to play it down. And if you see Anna's shawl, that she wraps around, there's real people out there. So if the images are of the real people, so many of them over there. So it's like, I don't know, if you're carrying the weight of a community or company, and, due to that, you're under pressure, or it's like a, some kind of maybe journalism, some kind of information. But I feel that you will overcome this, because hard times are actually behind you. That's what the universe says. So just hold up. Don't give up hope. And, get the help that you can, Be honest with your communication. Tell people exactly what it is. Don't suppress your emotions. Don't downplay the situation. Now, I also feel that this could be, you could be a journalist or some, of some sort of reporting or some kind of reporter, and you might be surrounded with people, who are unable to kind of, maybe they're working on some stories or events and they're unable to publish it, or they're under pressure, and you are the one stepping up to, publish the story or print the story or share the story. Something like that. You could be carrying other people's, uh, you know, um, stories or something that they are unable to complete it themselves. I don't know, that's the energy that I'm picking up on. So, but anyways, here it says that bring yourself to the present moment. So yeah, stop worrying. No fear is here, Aquarius. The universe is saying your prayers have been answered. They have been heard and are currently being worked on. So soon you will see a shift. You will see a change in your situation. So hang in there. So Aquarius, those were your messages. So thank you guys for joining. Please subscribe and hit the like if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye for now.